member for Little Bow.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last month, the Minister of Infrastructure admitted that his department hadn't done a proper study of how the carbon tax could negatively impact Alberta's construction industry. If the carbon tax isn't accounted for, it means that amounts listed in the capital plan for important projects like the Calgary Cancer Centre are now insufficient to cover the actual project costs. To the Premier, does the government intend to provide revised capital plan figures that take the carbon tax into account? Or will much-needed projects be delayed as a result of the carbon tax eating up infrastructure dollars?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Well, as we've seen, our Wild Rose friends over there like to light their hair on fire about the impact of the carbon tax and grossly overestimate its impact. I would point out to honourable members opposite that there will be about a 6.5% effect on the price of gasoline, but gasoline prices have come down in the last couple of years over 30%. So, Mr. Speaker, obviously these costs are lower now than when the economy was booming 2 years ago, Mr. Speaker. So I'm sure there's going to be no shortage of ability to handle this situation.
The first supplemental.
Mr. Speaker, when the Minister of Labour was asked about where the jobs in the government's jobs plan were to come from, she said, quote, "I would recommend that you talk to the Minister of Infrastructure with that question," unquote. Now, the government might be betting on the capital plan to create much-needed jobs, but after a year, vague assurances and broken promises just won't cut it for Albertans anymore. To the Premier, we know that infrastructure didn't bother to study the effect of the carbon tax on Alberta's construction industry. Did anybody bother to assess the impact on job creation?
The Honourable Premier.
Well, indeed, Mr. Speaker, as I've said several times, we know that the Climate Leadership Plan will have a positive impact on job creation. Actually, in the construction industry itself, it's remarkable. I had the fabulous opportunity and privileges last Friday to engage in an announcement involving an eco-solar tour and to talk with a number of people in the construction industry who are very excited about the opportunity to engage in efficiency investments as well as renewable energy investments as it relates to construction. So, in fact, what we're going to do is we're going to create more opportunities.
Thank you, Honourable Premier. Second supplemental.
Mr. Speaker, in their desperation to draw in revenue after their credit disintegrating budgets, this government couldn't be bothered to exempt even schools from their job-killing carbon tax. Edmonton Public alone has estimated that the carbon tax will result in over $600,000 lost per year. That's just from one board in our province. So why does this government think that education dollars are better used in a slush fund for pet projects rather than for funding schools or building new ones?
The Honourable Premier.
Mr. Speaker, I'll tell you, when I think about the impact of our climate leadership plan on the province of Alberta and on the future, one of the things that makes me proudest is the degree of support that we have amongst the very kids inside those schools that the member opposite is talking about. They want a government that will move forward, be innovative, take bold action, and protect their environment for their future, Mr. Speaker.